Week 1 of the 2025 NFL football season certainly didn't disappoint. Hi, everybody. Welcome into Got It Covered. I'm Giovanni Heater alongside Raza Umarani. And we bring our good friend to the show. He covers the Baltimore Ravens on behalf of Charm City Sideline. He's also a Virginia Tech sports media and analytics alum like ourselves, Bradley Winterling. Bradley, thanks so much for hopping on, man. And guys, what an awesome week 1 to get us going.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited. Thanks for having me on, guys. And it feels very good to have football back.
Yeah, it's like we didn't miss a beat, right? We got this amazing week 1 slate and it lived up to the hype. Somehow it exceeded the hype. Even like every primetime game was an absolute banger. So it just feels so good to have it back after so much waiting. And now it's like we're back in the swing of things like it never left.
Completely fitting to start with Sunday Night Football, the game of the year between the Buffalo Bills and Bradley's Baltimore Ravens. 41-40, the final score from Orchard Park. We talked about it going into this thing, guys. Whoever won this, the other and the rest of the AFC was going to be looking up at for the entire 2025 season. And now it really does feel as if the AFC and the road to the Super Bowl runs through Buffalo.
Yeah, I had Gio on my podcast and, to preview this game. And we basically talked about how big this game is. It's not just a normal week 1 game because both of these teams are probably going to be in the running for that 1 seed. And the Bills end up winning this game. The Bills play their own division 6 times and the NFC South. So it's going to be tough for the Ravens to make a run at this thing. Obviously, the Ravens have the ability to win 10, 11, 12 games in a row, but they have a gauntlet of a schedule. So it is an uphill battle. And the 1 seed now is the Bills to lose because of one of the best comebacks, we've seen in recent history.
I was going to say, it's not just like the Bills won the game. It's like, oh, okay, that's the story. Like the Bills won this game and now they're in the driver's seat. Like, yeah, that's true. But and the story is the comeback, Bradley, to your point, but it's like so much of a team coming back to win versus like a team losing. And I do think that, Buffalo deserved to win it down the stretch, but it's like, man, we're at the start of the 4th quarter and the Ravens go 1-2, right? Lamar has that video game play on 3rd and 10 to move the chains when he's 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And then bam, Derrick Henry in your face rips off another long touchdown run. Game's over. Parents are putting their kids to bed. Fans are leaving the stadium trying to beat the traffic to head back to wherever they're at in upstate New York. And then Josh Allen proves why he won the MVP last year and pulls the impossible. So, I mean, like, I'm so ready to yield the floor to you guys and let you guys duke this out. You guys previewed it together. Now you can deal with the aftermath. But if I'm saying anything, it's like, man, for 2.5 hours, I'm texting Gio like, hey, man, no shame. I think this is the best team in the league. I said they were the best team in the league when we previewed week 1 and we previewed the AFC. Like, no shame, dude. Lamar and Derrick Henry are insane. And then so much transpires down the stretch to allow the Bills back in the game. And Josh Allen goes nuclear. And Gio, I think, we talked about it off the air. It's about as impressive as a performance as Josh Allen's ever had to kick off maybe a season of destiny for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I think the big takeaway from this game for me, when you look at the Buffalo Bills and you look at Josh Allen in particular, is it's almost like we're turning a new page with Josh. And we didn't know if that was even possible because of how good he had been and how strong his MVP campaign was last season and how great his playoff performances have been and what have you. But this was the first time that I have seen Josh Allen go into a late game situation like this and be in complete and utter control. He was an assassin on that final drive. Like, clock's ticking down towards midfield. You're going south of a minute left to play, and he is calm. He is cool. He is collected. He is poised, and he was completely under control. And he went and just engineered an unbelievable drive to go win the game. And last year, in Kansas City, AFC Championship, game on the line, it's tougher because you're an Arrowhead, but I kind of felt like you could feel him shaking in his boots a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was completely the opposite on Sunday night. He just went out there and flat won the game, and he looked like an assassin, is I think the perfect way to describe it in doing so. Bradley, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. You go back to the divisional game last year, and he played very well in terms of not putting the ball in harm's way. And then you go to the AFC Championship in Kansas City, and he almost throws 2 picks on the first possession.
Right.
And I think all game, I mean, obviously there was good plays here and there, but all game you could sort of feel it. Sort of that Josh Allen of old was maybe a little amped up. You know, we see it from Lamar in a lot of playoff games as well. And you didn't see that at all last night. He looked so calm. And receivers made plays for him too. Gio and I talked about the signing of Josh Palmer. Can Keon Coleman have, a good season this year? Keon Coleman had 8 catches, 112 yards, and a touchdown. So if he can be a good player for them this year and win some jump balls on the sideline, if Josh Palmer can keep beating DBs one-on-one, I mean, this could be a top 2 or 3 offense in the league, if not the best. So, I'm very impressed with Josh Allen. And, another thing I'll say is that offensive line, man, is maybe the best in football. I mean, I don't love the Ravens pass rush, but there was a brick wall all night for Josh
Yeah.
Allen, and he took advantage of it too.
Yeah, I think you make a good point about not putting the ball in harm's way, right? The only thing close to a turnover was the interception on a 2-point conversion by Kyle
Yeah.
Hamilton. We were this close to a 1-point safety, guys. I don't know if anybody realized that when
Yes.
when Hamilton pitched the ball back.
Yeah,
If the
yes.
Bills had fallen on it, we'd have a 1-point. Dude, I was like, I screamed it at the TV, and everyone's like, "What the hell are you talking about? This 1-point safety stuff?" I'm like, "You can brush up on your rule book knowledge." But so much of this is about Josh Allen. I think Gio makes a good point of like, so many times the ball's in his hands, and we've seen him be great, like taking the lead with 13 seconds left in Kansas City. But then we've seen last year where they get the ball back down 3 and they don't get a first down. Granted, this is not January, this is early September. Even if it was a little cooler in Buffalo than it was in other places for week 1, like this is still just week 1. So we would like to see it over the course of the regular season, and then in the playoffs, if the Bills are to get to the Super Bowl like they hope. That's why I kind of want to flip it to like, man, it's just another one of these losses for the Ravens. You have no business losing this game. So I give a ton of credit to Josh Allen, who this is probably the best regular season game he's played. It's unfathomable to think that the Ravens have lost a game like this again. And to your guys' point earlier about now these teams are looking up at Buffalo, Baltimore now makes it harder on themselves when the playoffs roll around if they have to go back to Buffalo or if they have to go to Kansas City, because we've seen they can't win at home, right? They lost to the Titans in 2019 and the Chiefs in 2023, but now you just make it harder on yourself. And we know how stacked this roster is. They're way too talented to be continuing to lose games like this where Lamar plays perfect. Henry looks unreal. Like, I just don't know. So I give a ton of credit to Buffalo in this regard, but so much of it is about the Ravens finding another way to lose these games, which just has to change. If again, they have Super Bowl aspirations too. Both of these teams are trying to get over the hump of Kansas City while simultaneously getting over the humps of each other. I feel like the Ravens might be the most talented of the 3 teams, but right now, in terms of their execution, they're 3rd on that totem pole, which is just, it's nuts.
So many things had to go right for Buffalo to win this game. And first of all, huge credit to Baltimore. Like this man, Derrick Henry, was a freak of nature in this game. There was no stopping him. And the Bills did not really have an answer for him either. Lamar Jackson was obviously fantastic, but so many things had to go right for the Bills. I take you to that 4th down where Josh is scrambling around, throws it to the end zone. It's tipped up into the air by Dawson Knox. And then Keon Coleman makes an incredible diving catch to score the touchdown. And then obviously Ed Oliver's a monster the entire game, right? He has that big sack on Lamar Jackson early on in the first half. And then he had a couple of big plays where he just kind of shook things up, stuffed the run. And then he strips Derrick Henry, which I'll say, I think that was more a testament to Ed Oliver on the defensive side, ripping that ball loose than it was Henry coughing it up, so to speak. So many things had to go the Bills' way in this, and it did. And it was just kind of one of those destiny type games.
Yeah, Ed Oliver, I'm glad you mentioned that, Gio, because I would have forgotten to bring it up. Ed Oliver looked like $100 million defensive tackle on Sunday night. And I think he's shown flashes of that, but on Sunday, I mean, he was, as a Ravens fan, annoying me a lot during that game. And, Raza touched on the Ravens and why this keeps happening. A lot of it in the playoffs, as maybe Lamar's number one fan in the world, was because of Lamar Jackson turning the ball over. And I really think that, destiny, whatever. I think the Bills lost in the divisional round last year. I think that was supposed to be the moment where he got over it. A really bad first half, basically a perfect second half. And that was the first time he came back from a bad start to a playoff game and played really well. And obviously because of Mark Andrews, it didn't end up happening. And then, listen, Sunday night really felt like a playoff game to me. It felt intense.
It did, dude.
And Lamar Jackson goes out there, has a 144 passer rating, an EPA per play of plus 0.69. I think second best.
That's insane.
Yes. Jordan Love, second best was like 0.52 maybe, which is still insane. So Lamar had one of his classic, incredibly efficient games, didn't put the ball in harm's way, combined with making a ton of plays, and they still didn't get it done.
Yeah.
So I think even the national media now is sort of looking towards, okay, why did they still not win if Lamar wasn't the issue? And this has been happening for a long time now with John Harbaugh. You can go back to Super Bowl in 2012. They were beating the 49ers 28-6, and they almost lost the game. And I'm not saying it's all because of John Harbaugh, but maybe sometimes you need a new slate. And I'd say after the season is sort of going into the second half of Lamar Jackson's career, along with Josh Allen. And we'll see what happens in January this year, but maybe it is time for a new face at the helm.
Wow. Bradley, would you have gone for it on the 4th down and 3?
Yeah, after my post-game pod on Charm City Sideline, I was ranting a little bit. The play calling in the fourth quarter was egregious, in my opinion.
That final drive was rough. Play
calling. The Ravens' final 3 drives, they basically took the ball out of Lamar's hand. And I'm not able to look past that. A lot of Ravens fans are talking about punting on the 4th and 3, which, listen, Lamar said he was cramping. I don't think it's insane to say the Ravens have a better chance picking that up with Cooper Rush than stopping the Bills from getting a field goal. Like, I don't think that's that crazy to say. But the play calling on the Ravens' final 3 drives completely took the ball out of the MVP's hands and let the other MVP win the game, which I do not understand that.
I mean, you have arguably the best running back of the 21st century and arguably the greatest rushing quarterback of all time. And on the final drive to ice the game, you're running a jet sweep to Zay Flowers. And you're running it to the side of the line where Mark Andrews is lining up as a blocker, who's just let's call it as it is. He's just not as good of a blocker as a guy like Isaiah Likely. I know you don't have Likely in that game, but dude, line up between the tackles and tell Derrick Henry to pick up 3 yards. It's not that hard. I mean, I heard it talked about on TV in the aftermath of this game. I remember the Chiefs-Ravens Sunday nighter from early in the 2021 season. And, there's that iconic clip of Harbaugh being like, Lamar, you want to go for it? Lamar's like, yeah, they go for it, pick it up, end the game on your sword. Because if you give the ball back to Patrick Mahomes, you're lost.
You're cooked.
The same thing applied in this game. I was the only person of my friends that was at watching this game together saying they need to go for this, because if they give it back to Buffalo, Josh is going to win the game. They can't stop anything right now. So I definitely would have gone for it too. Thought it's not like coaching malpractice. I think that's a very, very that's a bit of an exaggeration, but you got to do right by your stars. And they didn't do that down the stretch. But that's on Harbaugh. If that's on Monken, I'm not really sure. But the Ravens should never have given the ball back to Buffalo in that position.
Completely agree.
So many things got us to the scoregami too. Like the Ravens miss a PAT that would have had the game even at 41. The Bills, I thought, and Raza, I think you agree with me. Bradley, curious to hear your thoughts. I thought Keon Coleman was certainly impeded out of bounds on that 2-point conversion attempt, and then reestablished himself in bounds before catching it. And they say that obviously they waved off the 2 points, no 2 points for Buffalo. And the Bills couldn't get either of those 2-point conversions to be successful. Like swings like that, I mean, that was a break that the Bills didn't catch in this scenario. A break that they did catch was the missed PAT, but it was just interesting how you could point to a trillion different things to lead to this outcome. And that's what's to be expected in such a high scoring shootout that's literally decided by a point. I think we can all agree these two will in all likelihood see each other again. And that's the best part about this. The unfortunate thing for you, Bradley, is it's probably going to be in Orchard Park. And at that rate, those fans are thinking might be their last time ever in that stadium. So good luck, amigo.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate it, Gio.
All right, let's move on from the Bills and the Ravens. Let's talk about Friday night's thriller. And Raza, I just have to tell you, I told you so about the AFC West. I told you that the Chiefs were not going to have this cakewalk to the 1 seed. I said the division's too tough. It's a 2-horse race between Buffalo and Baltimore for the 1 seed in the AFC because the AFC West would cannibalize itself. And the Chargers went out in the season opener and beat the Chiefs in the divisional game. What you got to say now, boy?
I don't have a wig right now, but I'm going to cosplay Nick Wright for a second, okay? Like, Xavier Worthy gets hurt on, the third play of the game, and I feel like Kansas City still played well. I mean, obviously, they played well enough offensively to win the game. The defense, I'm a little concerned about because I always thought it's something they can hang their hat on. They're going to be stout on that side of the ball no matter what. And yes, it took Justin Herbert having, in my opinion, the best game of his career, circumstances withstanding. But the reason he played so well is because really LA got everything they wanted offensively. They saw food across from them with Kansas City, particularly in the secondary. I thought they did not get enough of a rush up front, even against a Chargers line that did not have Rashawn Slater. Herbert had time back there to make a sandwich. And when he needed to escape, he escaped. The 3rd and 14 to seal the game was the second he rolled out, I'm like, of course, there's nobody there to stop him because it's not like you're going to spy Justin Herbert of all people. So I give a ton of credit to Jim Harbaugh, not John, definitely not. But Jim Harbaugh, I thought, coached a great game. I thought Greg Roman actually kind of opened things up a little bit for Justin Herbert and allowed him to have, like I said, the best game of his career. Quentin Johnston was insane for some reason. So it was a situation where I thought the Chargers played perfectly and the Chiefs didn't. And the Chiefs only lost by 6. If they stop Justin Herbert on the 3rd 14, they get the ball back, they could win the game. So I give a ton of credit to LA, but I'm not ready for in week 1 after a game like this. It's not like they lost by 30. It's not like the game they lost to Tennessee back in 2021 when we thought the sky was falling. They didn't score a touchdown. I think Kansas City is going to be fine. I'm really interested to see how they bounce back this week against Philly in the rematch, especially if Xavier Worthy doesn't play. So what do I got to say for myself? I'll take this one on the chin, but I'm not ready to jump to any conclusions just yet.
Very valid, my friend. Bradley, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I'll start with the Chiefs here. I do think they will still win the AFC West. They have this new weird curse of injuring their own players at the beginning of the season. Mahomes tore Rashee Rice's ACL last year trying to make a tackle, and then you have Travis Kelce injuring Worthy's shoulder on a mesh concept, and Worthy dislocates his shoulder, which the Chiefs somehow get away with this thing where we never understand fully what their injuries are. And they're saying Worthy's day-to-day might need surgery, going to try to wear a brace. We don't really know exactly what's going to happen with him. An issue with the Chiefs that I felt has been there for a while is there's not really a scary run game. And I think Isaiah Pacheco is a solid player. He had 5 carries for 25 yards. Their run game is not that explosive. And I really don't understand why they don't just draft a back in the 2nd or the 3rd or even the 4th round. RJ Harvey to Denver had a solid game yesterday. There's plenty of guys you can get. Krosky Merritt, who I'm excited to talk about later, looked really good.
Bill,
I just don't understand sort of what they're doing with the run game and sort of their maybe slight ignorance of that. And then also Raza mentioned their defense didn't look good. Jaden Hicks, Shamari Connor, and Jalen Watson were all pretty bad in my opinion. Completely torched by Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnston, who we'll see if they end up being good receivers this year or if the Chiefs defense had a really bad day. And Eagles, Giants, Ravens for their next 3 games. So we're going to learn even more about this team coming up.
Let's just take a moment and take a page out of Pat McAfee's book. Boys, clap it up for Justin Herbert. Played a heck of a ball game.
I've never said a wrong thing. I've never said a wrong thing about Justin Herbert. Man. People on Twitter are like, oh, maybe the nerds are right. Maybe Justin Herbert actually is good. Same thing they said about Dak on Thursday night. I'm like, yes, you people, stop watching. You guys argue with like cretins on the internet that have no idea what they're talking about. How about you throw on some tape or even throw on a TV copy of a game and see this 6'6" cyborg built in a lab to play quarterback under Jim Harbaugh sling the rock around? Like, sorry, he's not the flashiest guy. They dialed him back last year under Harbaugh and Roman. He's insane. He's literally a perfect pocket passing quarterback model. It's just not always translated into wins or postseason success, which is valid to hold him back in the conversation among the elites. But when I look on Twitter after the game on Friday night and people are like, maybe Justin Herbert actually is good. Yeah, no, duh. I've only been saying it for 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you guys see it right here, 25 of 34, 318, 3 touchdowns, passer rating of 131. Yeah, I mean, I think it was one of the most impressive games I've seen from him. Yeah. The throw to Keenan Allen on the corner that was dropped. I mean, that was a jaw dropper right there. And he has so many of those. And it's, he's just, I think he needs a few wins in the playoffs to get sort of the respect from everyone. But I mean, this guy is an elite quarterback, like Raza mentioned. And, the Joe Alt pick, which got some hate a few years ago, I think ended up being the right one. He looks like one of the best left tackles in the league. Their O-line still holding up without Rashawn Slater was nice. And, year 2 of Jim Harbaugh, we'll see what happens. There's been a lot of talk of Broncos and Raiders. I feel like trying to take down the Chiefs, and I haven't heard as much about the Chargers this offseason. And if anyone's going to do it, I feel like the Chargers would have the best chance to win this division, and they were sort of in the background out of the other 3 teams in this division this offseason.
I picked a certain team to make the Super Bowl in the NFC, and for good reason, because they are coming off the heels of a Super Bowl victory. But I almost want to change that prediction after watching 1 week of football, because the Green Bay Packers look pretty darn good, boys. I mean, I think this is a little bit of both. I think we broke down on our NFC preview so many of the holes that the Lions were going to have this year. I think that we saw a lot of that on Sunday, but we also saw a Packers team that's legit, and we already thought they were going to be good. You add Micah Parsons. He didn't even play that much on Sunday. They look really good offensively, defensively, like everything about the Packers screams Super Bowl contender. And I think the best moment of the entire weekend, outside of course, the Bills, Matt Prater, 41 years old, got to Buffalo on Thursday, kicks the game winner on a Sunday, told Josh Allen before the game, said, hey, I'm going to give you everything I got today. And such a cool story. Outside of that, the moment of the week for me was Micah Parsons bending off the edge in pursuit like a great white shark, tracking down Jared Goff and taking him down as Lambeau absolutely erupts. And he does like an Avengers superhero pose, sticking the number 1 up into the air as he's wearing the number 1 jersey, got his first sack as a Packer. I was like, oh my God, that was like one of those moments that you're like, yep, I'll never forget watching that. That was sick. Yeah, Packers are legit, and they looked good.
Yeah, when they acquired Micah Parsons, everything in my mind sort of changed about how I look at the top of the NFC. I mean, in my NFL preview 2024, I had the Packers losing the Super Bowl, and maybe was a year early on that. Now they get Micah Parsons, and their defense was flying around on Sunday. And I know there was some concern about their secondary. They looked pretty good. I mean, when you have an elite pass rusher like this, they sort of make everyone better. That's kind of how it goes. That's why they go for multiple first-round picks, and he probably should have gone for more
And
than
he's on
what
a
he
snap
did.
count.
Yeah. So their defense is probably going to be a lot better than people thought it was going to be, 2-3 weeks ago before Micah Parsons was there. Combine that with the fact Jordan Love played really well. I mentioned just earlier that he had the second best EPA per play of week 1 at +5.2. Him and Lamar were sort of up above everyone else, and then there was a gap after them. So Love played really well. We'll see how Matthew Golden ends up looking this year. I really liked him as a prospect. Nice hands catcher. I think a lot of people were sort of saying he was overrated in this draft. I felt like he was almost underrated because of everyone saying that. I think Tucker Kraft is a good tight end. Josh Jacobs is obviously really, really good too. So I'm pretty high on the Packers. And for me right now, I think them and the Eagles are right next to each other in this NFC.
Yeah, I mean, I picked the Packers to win the NFC when we did our preview. I probably wouldn't have done that before the Micah trade, but the Micah trade just changes everything because Bradley, like you said, it's not even what he does from his perspective. It's what he brings to everybody else around him. And I said he was going to elevate that side of the ball, and I feel like he has, even in the secondary, which was my concern going into the year. But for me, this is so much more because we know the Packers are good. Like, we know the Packers are going to be good. I did not expect the Lions to look this bad. I picked the Packers to win this game 26-20. So while I got their score pretty darn close, the Lions, listen, throw the last drive against the Packers backup defense where Tesla admittedly makes a hell of a one-handed catch for a touchdown. Throw it out the window, right? Like, Goff was like 6 of 8 for 70 yards and a touchdown on that drive.
That catch was bonkers.
Amazing catch, but like, who cares? So the TVs were all flipped to Football Night in America by that point. So you don't score a touchdown. Goff looks rattled, discombobulated. The offense just looks totally disjointed. Jahmyr Gibbs is a complete non-factor because he catches 10 passes out of the backfield, but only picks up 30 yards. It's nuts. Their new look offensive line struggled against Micah when he would line up and rush from the interior, like the B gap. Their new guard just did not look the part. I know Tate Ratledge is going to be a good player, but it's still early right now. And just the thing that stands out to me is under Ben Johnson, everything was designed perfectly, right? It's like we're going to be a well-oiled machine. We're going to be like a clock that just ticks on time. Nothing was on time for them. And when Jared Goff tries to make things work out of structure, it's a disaster. And this is an offense that's meant to be run on time because they're so when you have an offense with Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Laporta, Williams, all these guys, they're meant to be on time. Because you're not Amon-Ra is not one of these guys that's going to break off a route and then chuck it deep and Jared Goff's going to roll out and launch it like we've seen Josh Allen do a million times. That's not this offense. And we know what their defense is with some of their shortcomings. So people were like, oh, this offense is good enough to carry them even if the defense sucks again. No, they're not. Not with the way that they're designed right now. So I already had the Packers in the Super Bowl, so this just reinforces that. Now I'm like, shoot, are the Lions a playoff team? Because I don't know.
I might have to swap the Lions and the Vikings in my thought process.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into talking about that. Bradley, what was that nugget? I saw it on TV, and then you had mentioned it, so I know you have it. Jared Goff with Ben Johnson or Sean McVay, and without Ben Johnson or Sean McVay, quite the stark contrast.
Yeah, I don't have his record with them, but without Ben Johnson and Sean McVay, he is 3-17-1 in his career.
Wow.
So you think about, I think rookie year with the Rams, Jeff Fisher was rough. And then first year with the Lions, Ben Johnson was there, but he was their pass game coordinator. He wasn't the OC. So that's Goff's record without those two guys. I'm not saying it's going to stay like that. I obviously think the Lions could have a better year than, being 3-13 or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's definitely telling. And, I thought when the trade first happened, I thought the Rams 100% won that trade with the Stafford Goff thing. And Goff looked, really good the past couple of years. And I still think he's going to have a solid year this year. But like Raza was mentioning, like Ben Johnson is one of the best play callers in this league. Like, I know some people are like, oh, how is he going to be his head coach, blah, blah, blah. We'll see, but their whole offense is based on timing, like you mentioned, and Jared Goff needs it to be based on timing. And like yesterday, he was 31 for 39, but only 225 yards. That's under 6 yards an attempt, just no explosiveness at all. And I'd be a little bit concerned if I was a Lions fan. So, we'll see what happens. I mean, I think Sam Laporta having upwards of 70, 79 yards, I think, is a good sign because he had a little bit of a down year last year after a really good rookie season. But, they got to get the run game going. They got to get Gibbs going because, I mean, we'll see how this, whole brain drain, as they call it, goes. But when you lose both coordinators, and they both were really good coordinators, it's tough to overcome that.
We must move on, and we must talk about the Eagles and the Cowboys and pick up our pace a little bit here. Eagles come away with a win against Dallas. First of all, it was just awesome on Thursday night to have football back. Everyone was absolutely stoked for this game. You had drama right off the bat as Dak Prescott and Jalen Carter are going at it. Jalen Carter hawks a loogie on Dak Prescott, gets ejected from the game, a snap in, and you see after that Dak had spit towards that direction as well. I actually do believe that Dak says he spits a lot. He wasn't really like looking at him. He spit out of the huddle. And then those two start going at it. They're definitely jawing, and Jalen Carter spits on him. I mean, drama there. What are your takeaways from this game? I think it actually could have, Jalen Carter is that much of a dog. I think it could have looked more lopsided with his presence in the game. No question about it. But I think my two biggest takeaways are the Eagles are going to contend for the Super Bowl once again. Like, I don't have anything that scared me out of the Eagles as far as them not being the caliber of team we thought that they were going to be. And then on the other side of that coin, I think that the Cowboys might be a little better than we thought. This game's always going to be interesting. It's a divisional game in the NFC East. We know the history, the lore behind it. But, like, the Cowboys defense didn't look terrible, and Dak looked pretty darn good. Like, we knew the offense was going to be good. Maybe we start talking about, especially if teams are slipping like the Lions, do we talk about the Cowboys having some kind of push in them? We're going to have to see how the season plays out.
I think, just really quickly on Jalen Carter, you guys remember that clip? Maybe it was from last year or the year before. It was a college football clip where, like, the offensive lineman is in the huddle and then he turns around and he like yaks on the ground through his face mask, looks up at the defensive lineman and is like, yeah, I'm coming.
Yeah.
Imagine if the defensive lineman goes up to him and pulls trig and throws up on his jersey. Like, just because someone spits in your direction, you do not. Jalen Carter, man, I have my opinions on him. That could be a whole nother episode. But really quickly, Gio, because I know we're picking up the pace here. My two main takeaways, one for each team, right? Dallas, I think, is better than maybe we thought they would be. For them to run the ball as effectively as they did against that defense, albeit without Jalen Carter, really impressive. And for their secondary, which I thought was one of the worst in the NFL, to limit Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown to less yards than I had walking to and from the bathroom after my birthday dinner on the night of this game, really impressive. And one sleeve Dak might be a good look, might be a good little aura change for him. But on the Eagles, man, not impressed. Just really not impressed. Saquon, complete non-factor in the rushing game. A.J. Brown didn't have a catch until there was 2 minutes left. It was check down Charlie to Saquon and Dallas Goedert for the whole game. And I think Jalen did well with his legs. But what happens when you play a competent defense that can spot you? I do think that because there was so much attention to the receivers, it allowed Jalen to do that. And of course, I'm not going to knock him for rushing because that's his thing. And it makes him so effective. I thought he was a fantastic runner on Thursday night. But I think that the Eagles you're not going to get away with that in every game. And I think that certain teams might be able to exploit the weaknesses in their secondary the way Dallas did. Again, fascinated to see how they match up with Kansas City this week. So impressed with Dallas. Less impressed with the Eagles. That's pretty much my main takeaway. Is maybe it's not as big of a gap as we thought. I don't know.
Brad, quickly to you.
Yeah, I agree with everything Raza said there, so I won't add too much. I was watching the Athletic football show, and Robert Maves was basically saying this was the most Jalen Hurts game a Jalen Hurts game could be. So I thought that was funny. Just one positive about the Eagles defense, because it does really look rough, especially at the cornerback 2 spot. Jahad Campbell looked really, really good. And
He's insane.
How does Howie Roseman keep getting away with this? The one play where he ran the hole in Tampa 2, Raza, and got that pass break up. I mean, that was crazy. And getting him at 32 that's just wild, man.
Or the forced fumble in the red zone, right? Completely changed before the weather delay, completely changed the game. How that guy falls the same way that Jalen Carter fell and Nolan Smith fell and Nakobe Dean fell, just stupid. It's just dumb.
Yeah.
Goodness, are these two defenses in trouble in both Pittsburgh and New York? But I'll tell you what, the best quarterback on Sunday, not named Joshua Patrick Allen, was certainly Aaron Rodgers, because he hooped for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Justin Fields and that Jets offense looked pretty darn good as well. We'll see the status of Garrett Wilson, because he got absolutely rocked by Jalen Ramsey on the final play of the game. Notable that the Jets play Buffalo at MetLife on Sunday. They need Garrett Wilson if they want any shot in that game. Otherwise, that's an easy feather in the divisional cap for Buffalo to start out divisional play on Sunday. But really impressed with the offense of the Steelers in particular, and honestly, Justin Fields in New York as well. But both of these defenses have a long way to go, and I think that's going to be their shortcomings, particularly in Pittsburgh. When you look at them, are they a fringe playoff team? I don't know if that defense is going to be enough. I think they're going to score points throughout the year. I don't know if that defense is going to be enough, but I do think what we saw was Rodgers still has it. And it just goes to show how terrible his situation was in New York, because he showed that he still has it. And I think the marriage between him and Tomlin, I did not think it would work. I thought they were very different people. They are very different people, at least how they portray themselves. And somehow it's clicking. It's only 1 week. You know you can't put so much stock into 1 week, but maybe this whole Pittsburgh Aaron Rodgers thing might not be terrible after all.
Yeah, Rodgers was the "Unk still got it" meme, right? So good for him and good for them. And again, I'll keep my thoughts on this brief, because I missed the whole game. I was at the Giants-Commanders game, but every time they showed the out-of-town scoreboard, there were just more points on the board in this game. I was like, what the hell is happening at MetLife Stadium right now? So credit to Aaron Rodgers for shutting me the hell up, and credit to Justin Fields for shutting me the hell up. I think these are just two teams that might be better than we thought, plain and simple, and two quarterbacks that might be better than we thought going into the year. So kind of upset that I missed this game, but a lot of fun. And who knows, maybe both of these teams are just better than we assumed.
Yeah. Steelers got to figure out the run game. I don't think either of their running backs averaged more than 3.5 yards a carry. And I got to hit on the Steelers a little bit. They still had a little bit of voodoo magic with the Jets fumbling a kick return and, scoring a touchdown right after that. And then, Chris Boswell hits a 56 and a 60-yard field goal, which, I mean, obviously you have a good kicker on your team. That's not your fault. But I just wanted to say that a bit about the Steelers at first. Rodgers obviously played better than I was expecting him to. And, Justin Fields, who I thought was possibly the number one quarterback coming out of the draft when he did, I had given up on him completely. And then he looks really good going through progressions. I know that Aaron Glenn brought over Tanner Engstrand from the Lions, who maybe he's just, I think he is a really good play caller. So that's going to help Fields out a lot. And this team could maybe be, make a push for the wild card here.
Monday Night Football. How about the comeback for the Vikings to win it over Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, and the Chicago Bears? Goodness gracious. You could see it running down JJ McCarthy's leg in the first half, but he came out and hooped in half number 2. Kudos to the kid for pulling it all together. And that was a nice win. I thought more than anything, I was incredibly impressed with Kevin O'Connell's coaching in this game and down the stretch. And you saw the play where he tells the returner to take it out of the end zone and start running it to get it under the 2-minute warning. That's one last timeout for the spectacular coaching job by Kevin O'Connell. Testament to them. We knew that this could have some awesome storylines because it was Ben Johnson's debut. And what does this Caleb Williams offense look like in year 2 and year 1 with Ben Johnson? And then, of course, the debut of JJ McCarthy. And to be honest, Minnesota's been good. Obviously, they were in contention for the 1 seed in the NFC a season ago without McCarthy. So interesting game. it was cool to see the Vikings show that resilience and win it. I don't know what we're going to see out of JJ throughout the year. There's obviously going to be rookie growing pains like there are with most rookies not named Jaden Daniels and CJ Stroud and people of that nature. So, interesting game. I think the Bears might be fine. I mean, it's bad to collapse, but what do you guys think?
I don't have the time. Sorry, Bradley. I don't have the time to take my full victory lap and gloat. But I just got to say, this is my best hate watch since Super Bowl 57. I have never left a game more satisfied in the last several years. Now, again, it's just week one. I won't jump to any conclusions. But to your point, Gio, KOC coached circles around Ben Johnson.
Yes.
And JJ showed more development over the course of 4 quarters than Caleb Williams has shown over the course of 18 games in the National Football League.
Oh, he's ruthless.
I mean, and again, I'm going to put a bow on it here because I can dive into it plenty, but Bears fans, you guys are already struggling enough today. You guys have quarterback questions. Is Caleb going to get benched for Tyson Bagent by the end of September? I don't know, but let me say this, okay? Chicago treated that preseason game against Buffalo like the gosh darn Super Bowl to come out and embarrass themselves on national TV in week one the way I expected them to. So you guys can raise the banner. Back-to-back offseason champs. Scored on DeMar Hamlin and Cole Bishop in the preseason. Congratulations. Caleb Williams threw the most inaccurate balls of any quarterback in the NFL this week. And, my quarterback is 15-6 in his career. So,
that's going to get made into a TikTok.
Yeah, I'll just stay on the Viking side here because Raza, I think, took it all with Chicago there. I want to talk about Kevin O'Connell because I think he is one of the best, if not the best head coach in the league right now. Mm-hmm. And it matters so much. When you look at Ben Johnson on the sideline, he looks pissed all game, shaking his head. After McCarthy throws a pick six, Kevin O'Connell is smiling at him, telling him to come over here and let me explain what you did wrong. That's a massive difference, right? And I think that's why Kevin O'Connell is such a good coach and Sam Darnold had such a great year last year and why JJ McCarthy is probably going to end up having a good career in Minnesota. And another thing is, just the veteran presence of Justin Jefferson never looking frustrated in that first half either is really big too. And obviously JJ McCarthy has his head on straight, very positive throughout the whole thing as well. I was very, surprised by all of that, how positive everything was. And I mean, it really paid off. And the Vikings maybe have the best coaching staff in the league with Brian Flores also calling the defense over there.
I love it. We got one more game to quickly touch on here. I'm going to let Raza take the floor. My takeaways from this one, wasn't completely impressed by the Commanders, but it's week one. It's week one. I did think that Bill can tote the rock, and he even had limited carries. So I'm excited to see, how that develops at running back throughout the year. My biggest takeaway was the Giants are a mess. I mean, the Giants defensive line looked okay. I thought they created some pressure. We knew that though. We knew that they probably had the best defensive line in the entire sport, right? Russell Wilson, here's my hot take. I don't think Russell Wilson makes it to week 4. I think Jackson Dart is starting for the New York Giants before week 4. That's my hot take on watching this game. He just doesn't have the downfield passing ability at all anymore. And on top of it, he's small and undersized, and he doesn't have the athletic ability either to extend the play and evade. So what, you have a Kyler Murray sized pocket passer? What are we doing?
I mean, Brian Daboll doesn't know if he's going to make it to week 2, let alone week 4. So I'm going to keep this really quick and succinct because I know we got to get out of here. But here are my 4 main takeaways. 1, I was there. Northwest Stadium was absolutely bumping. So it's great to see the place back alive and in action. A really awesome game to go to, although the sun was beaming. So I was downing hella waters. 2, best part of the game for Washington, their defensive line. Their new look defensive line is deep. It's big. They're stout against the run. They were getting in the backfield. Everybody who hated on the Javon Kinlaw signing, meet me outside. And 3, everyone who hated on the Deebo Samuel acquisition, meet me outside. I told you to stay on that side. He was the best, most impactful player on Washington's offense. Just yawn, just stay on that side, whatever. And then 4, it really says something when Washington plays a game that they weren't impressed with and we weren't impressed with, and they don't allow a touchdown and win by 15. It's a new dawn. It's a new day in the nation's capital, and I'm feeling good.
If you can't tell, he's quite the entertainer, Bradley.
Oh yeah,
he carries this show.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah. Real quick for me on the Commanders, I'm not going to talk about the Giants here. Besides their defensive front looking really good, which we expected. Deebo Samuel may physically look a bit out of shape, but he didn't play like it. And like Raza said,
he's always looked like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's just got a little dip on his chin.
I hate Twitter for reasons like this, man. It drives me nuts.
I went 0 RB in my fantasy draft, and I got Breece Hall and Krosky Merritt. And I'm just saying, man, 10 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown. He looks really good. Shifty, jump cuts, good vision. I'm excited about my fantasy team, man. I think he's going to have a good year, Raza.
My Bill is an absolute star. I'm so happy. People were like, he might be a healthy scratch week 1. Nope, he's in the lineup. He's unreal. His shiftiness and vision and burst.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked amazing. However good he looked on TV, I assure you he looked better in person. And I know the fans love him. The team loves him. So I think Bill is going to start to be RB1 as we move down the stretch. But for the time being, man, like the offense will figure itself out. The offense will figure itself out, right? It's week 1. You're going to clean up. So really looking forward to our road trip to Green Bay this week. But in the meantime, just excited to be 1-0 and glad to be in a position where the team doesn't blow you away and they are still looking just fine.
Rapid fire here on the rest of the games of the weekend. Biggest takeaways. I was impressed by the Falcons and their showing against the Buccaneers. I think the Bengals were incredibly lucky that former Syracuse kicker Andre Schmidt missed a point after attempt. What is it with the Cincinnati Bengals and these slow starts? This is becoming a thing and becoming a serious plague for them, starting seasons poorly. And really, they should have lost that game against the Browns, or at least did everything in their power to let the Browns win it, right? Goodness gracious. What is the dumpster fire taking place in Miami right now?
Oh, my goodness.
We called it, Gio.
We did. Yeah. I mean, but I didn't think it was going to be that bad.
Me neither. I said they were
33-8 final score. Daniel Jones. Let's give him one of these.
Indiana Jones.
All right. You know, maybe remember that year he had with the Giants? I'm just saying. Maybe Daniel Jones is a top 18 quarterback in the league this year, which would be something.
Yeah.
The Patriots. I was impressed with the Raiders, though. That was a nice showing for Pete Carroll, and Geno hooped. Geno balled out. Let's see. Continuing to go down the line here. The Panthers are in trouble because the Jaguars are also not very good. But you know, the Niners come away with the win. Was not impressed by the Broncos outing against the Titans, but at least they did not allow a touchdown for whatever that is worth. And then the Rams and the Texans. That was a weird game. 14-9 final score. But the Rams got it done.
I told you I like that under.
That was a weird game. Wasn't really impressed by anybody in that. But Stafford did go 21-29 for 245 and a tud. So Sneaky had a nice stat line.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. I'm giving you my winners and my losers of the week. Winners: Emeka Egbuka, Michael Penix Jr., Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, and honestly, Brock Purdy. I got to give a lot of credit to Brock Purdy. Man. He actually did something that a lot of people don't think he can do, which is win the game on his own terms. I got a hell of a lot more losers. The entire Cincinnati Bengals, we're laughing at you, bro. It turns out playing your preseason starters means absolutely nothing.
No.
Obviously, the Dolphins.
That's an Adam Taylor problem, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's Burrow. I don't know if it's the fact that they're playing in the division. I don't know, but it makes no sense. Bryce Young, that's not what we wanted to see after what you ended last year. Also, Trevor Lawrence, 2 thumbs down. Hit Brian Thomas between the numbers, or I guess on the 7, if you will. Bo Nix, what the hell was that? Brian Callahan, I spent so much time defending you this offseason. You might be a lost cause. And biggest loser of the week, San Francisco 49ers training staff. What the hell are you guys doing?
What is going on down there?
What are you guys doing?
Everybody's always hurt.
Yeah.
I know. I have high hopes for them, obviously, but like, geez, it's just not looking good.
Yeah.
Bring us home, Bradley, and let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, real quick for me. Bengals better tighten it up. Jags, Vikings, Broncos, Lions, Packers is their next couple of games there. And then the Dolphins. Dolphins, I had them going 6-11. Might not even get to 6 wins. Mike McDaniel might be out of the door by October. Why did they pay Tua all that money? Who knows?
Dude, that locker room has no respect for Mike McDaniel.
no respect.
Or Tua, for that matter.
No, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I really appreciate you guys having me on. This was really fun. Anyone can go find me at Charm City Sideline podcast on YouTube. If there's any Ravens fans out there, or if the Ravens are on your schedule, we do previews every week.
We'll link it. We'll link it in the description.
Appreciate it. And then just Twitter at Brad Winterling. So there you go. Appreciate you guys, man.
Dude, this was fun. Bradley's going to become an NFL mainstay for sure. So anytime he's available, the door is completely open because it's always more fun to have the boys to talk to. So Bradley, as you know, it's an open door. We'd love to have you on anytime. And I know I'll be joining Charm City for sure in January when the Bills and the Ravens inevitably square off again in Orchard Park. Fellas, this was a good time. For Raza, for Bradley, I'm Giovanni Heater saying so long. I hope you enjoyed your week 1 of NFL action. So much content coming up. We still got our week 2 reactions for college football. Then we got to pick college football week 3. We got to pick NFL week 2. Don't go anywhere. Plenty more. Got it covered coming your way after this.